pass. Our test tires had 4/32 of an inch of remaining tread depth, the distance from the edge of an inverted corner to the top of Washington's Head. Water flow was further reduced as the tread grooves of a worn-out tire reached minimum legal tread depth. Our test tires had 2/32 of an inch of remaining tread depth, the distance from the edge of an inverted penny to the top of Lincoln's Head. Our tests consisted of 70-mile-per-hour runs ended by ABS-assisted panic stops on asphalt covered by just 5 to 6/100 of an inch of water, typical of what's experienced during moderate rain showers. Speeds and distances traveled were recorded until the vehicle came to a complete stop. Perhaps the best view for comparing the tires was from the side, where distances were readily apparent.
That's crazy, isn't it? Just when
One of
you're
the
trying
most amazing discoveries was that the sedan equipped with 2/32-inch deep tires was still traveling 44 miles an hour when it passed the distance in which the 4/32-inch deep tires had brought the vehicle to a complete stop. We then repeated the same evaluations using a popular pickup truck. As expected, even with new tires, the heavier weight pickup took longer to stop than the lighter weight sedan. While the side view comparison again documented the action, it's amazing that neither the 4/32 nor 2/32-inch deep tires could stop the pickup in the distance that kept the vehicle on the screen. And we were again surprised to learn the pickup equipped with the 2/32-inch deep tires was still traveling 47 miles an hour when it passed the distance in which the 4/32-inch deep tires had brought the pickup to a complete stop. Imagine having successfully completed a panic stop on a crowded expressway looking in the rearview mirror. Which of these images would you want to see? Since drivers can't run on new tires all the time, what's really the answer to our question when? The Tire Rack recommends that drivers consider replacing their tires when they reach 4/32 of an inch of remaining tread depth, if wet roads are in their future. But ultimately, it's a personal decision for when the driver feels the extra value received by running their tires longer becomes offset by the loss of performance on wet roads.
More and more new cars are going keyless for your convenience. But convenience should never take a back seat to safety. You'll want to take some extra precautions, since keyless features work differently than you're used to with traditional car keys. A keyless ignition uses an electronic key fob, which you don't physically put in the ignition. To turn on the engine, you just need to have the fob somewhere in the car, even in your purse or pocket, before you push the start-stop button. Traditional keys must be physically turned to power the engine on and off, and you have to put the car in park before you can take the key out of the ignition. The engine doesn't automatically shut off when the key fob is removed from the car. You still need to press the start-stop button. Since there's no traditional key to operate, it can be easy to forget to put the car in park when you shut it off, which can lead the car to roll away. If the car is parked in an enclosed garage and you accidentally forget to turn off the engine, it can even result in carbon monoxide poisoning and death. This is particularly important since carbon monoxide fumes are odorless and colorless. If your car has a keyless feature, here are some simple tips to keep in mind for everyone's safety. Check your owner's manual so you understand how the key fob works, since they can vary across manufacturers. Pay attention to any alert signals while you're in your car or getting out of it. Remember to put your car in park before turning it off, and always apply the parking brake. Never get out of your car while the engine is running. And don't leave your key fob in your vehicle. Make sure to take it with you. Always be safe, and when your car is keyless, don't get careless. At NHTSA, we believe in safer drivers, safer cars, safer roads. Get your safety facts at safercar.gov.
Anybody walked away from your car running? Has that shut it off? With that?
I do that a lot. I mean, I do it on purpose.
I do it on purpose too.
Yeah.
Well, I've not done it on
Tim does
purpose.
it on, not, like, I'm like, the truck's still on. The truck's still on. Oh,
All right, so we've talked about tires, we've talked about keys, and how should you be seated? You should be seated
About
10
right.
inches back from your steering wheel. Your seating position affects how you drive. When you grip the steering wheel with both hands, you should have a nice bend in your elbows. If you don't have a nice bend, move closer to the steering wheel. Head restraint is not a headrest, it's a head restraint. In vehicles with adjustable head restraints, position yours to the proper height relative to your head. In a crash, it's designed to help prevent injuries to your neck, head, and upper back. How should head restraints be positioned? The top of the head restraint should be slightly above your ears, preferably within 3 inches of the back of your head. And on the top of page 6, you'll have an answer box with a picture of a head restraint on it. And you'll see 3 pictures, A, B, and C. Which one is positioned correctly? And write the letter of the one that's positioned correctly in the box. What do you think it is?
B.
It's actually C. She must have higher ears, I don't
Yeah, what if you're short?
know. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
right, so you have to have it
Seven.
3 inches.
You gotta
All
do
right.
like a car seat?
Hand position on the steering wheel. Many people are originally taught to position their hands at 10 and 2, as on the hands of the clock. The modern recommended position is 9 and 3. You have the most possible control, 9 and 3, with the hands opposite sides of the wheel, but on the same level plane and so you have the most leverage for turning. You are also best prepared for emergency steering maneuvers, such as an invasive swerve to the right. You can steer very quickly if needed and steer back into the other direction with maximum control. You can turn the steering wheel farther before having to move your hands at that position. Another one is 8 and 4, not as good as 9 and 3, but the worst one is the noon position because of the airbag.
What about the knee at 6th position?
It doesn't even rate. Wow. Stop using your knee. Setting your mirrors, this is interesting, and if you haven't tried this, you should try it.
Our side mirrors can be adjusted in and out, changing what we can see off the rear corners of our vehicle. Adjusting them outward can help a great deal. Vehicles no longer visible in your rear view mirror will become visible in your side view mirror much sooner. One advantage of this mirror positioning is that it enables you to look directly into what would otherwise be your largest blind spots, areas off the rear corners of your vehicle that can hide an entire car. Also, positioning your mirrors this way can help reduce headlight glare from vehicles behind you. This can be especially helpful in preventing you from being temporarily blinded at night. Another advantage is that it minimizes the amount of time other vehicles disappear from your view. Vehicles no longer visible in your rear view mirror become visible in your side view mirrors much sooner than you would normally detect them with your side vision. For example, as this car approaches from behind, you see it in your rear view mirror. And you will continue to see it as the vehicle moves out of your rear view mirror and into your side view mirror. And as the vehicle continues past, you would see it appear in your side vision. You now have almost seamless visual contact with vehicles around you, which reduces your risk of moving into another vehicle. How should the side mirrors be adjusted to gain these advantages? It's quite easy and quick too. To adjust the left side mirror, simply rest your head against the closed window and set the mirror to barely show the edge of your vehicle. To position the right mirror, lean to the right so your head is directly in line with the rear view mirror above the center console. Adjust this mirror the same way so you can barely see the edge of the right side of your vehicle.
A lot of people don't use that mirror. A lot of people don't use that mirror.
I've tried it, it does work,
I like it.
but I need to see my car. I need to see a little sliver of my
Yeah, but
car
some
that's,
people, a lot of people don't even look that way. They just use the middle.
yeah.
They don't even look the right.
Why do you need to see the side of your car?
That's me. I just need to see a little bit, I just need see a little piece of my car. And
If you align it to where you don't see it anymore and you know that the edge is right there, you know that if you pass that, you know you're gonna hit your car.
Right, right.
But you don't
Yeah,
have to see
but-
the side of the mirror.
Yeah, I just don't like that. You know, it does work. It's still a good idea to look over your shoulder before changing lanes, and if you've not tried the technique yet, you might really like it. You have to give it a try. Headlights should be driven you should be driving with your headlights on all the time. I don't even think it's an option on the newer cars. It's best to assume other road users can't see you at all. Next, we're gonna talk about seat belts. An example of not wearing the seat belt here.
That's actually,
Watch where he ends up. Well stunned. I love the look on his face. And the safety belts during a second collision when the occupant's body moves forward after the vehicle has hit an object. That's your second collision. Objects in motion tend to remain in motion. When the vehicle stops, the occupant continues forward at the original speed. So if it's 45 miles an hour and that's what you were going at 45 miles an hour, that's what your brain is
At
doing.
any speed, you and your occupants are at risk of injury if you hit another object. This is because momentum will cause your bodies to continue moving forward when your vehicle suddenly slows down at the start of a crash. Fortunately, modern vehicles are equipped with a system designed to slow the rate at which occupants' bodies move forward in a crash. Safety belts. Safety belts also help prevent occupants from being ejected from a vehicle in severe crashes. Wearing your safety belt is the single most effective way to prevent crash injury. For front seat occupants, using a lap and shoulder belt cuts the risk of moderate to critical injury by half. Let's look at how safety belts work in a simulated crash, in this case, a rollover. You can imagine the potential injury to the unbelted occupants. But now that they're buckled in, the risk of serious injury is greatly reduced.
One of the many risks of not wearing a safety belt is the unrestrained occupants are more likely to be ejected in the crash. Even if the crash is where the vehicle does not roll over, anyone ejected is nearly twice as likely to die.
Good day, viewers. Today we're going to explore the possibilities.
Wait, well, why are your pants around your ankles?
What?
Don't you have a belt?
Wear a belt? Good day, viewers. So I noticed that a lot of people don't wear their seatbelts. And when I ask them why, a pretty general response that I get is, it's too much of a hassle. Well, let's explore and see if that's actually a valid response. Let's get started. That means cut. We're actually going to time me and see how long it takes to put on a seatbelt. We got this handy dandy cell phone timer here, and Ben, our faithful cameraman, will be the timer. Whenever you're ready, Ben.
And go.
And our time is 3.46 seconds. Now that we know how long it takes to put a seatbelt on, what we're going to do is go ahead and get started with our day. But the only trick is going to be I will only have 3.46 seconds to do everything in the daily routine. Let's see what happens.
Wake up, you got 3.46 seconds to get your clothes on. Time's up.
It's going to be a long day.
Go. Time.
I think I just made it worse.
Go. Up. Go. Time.
Oh yeah. Breakfast of Champions. That's wrong.
Go.
You might want to look away if you're squeamish.
I remember when I used to speak, well,
Yummy.
What's that taste like?
Like,
Like the egg?
what, yeah. Obviously, we've proven that putting a seatbelt on isn't a hassle, especially compared to those everyday things that you and I do all the time. So, if you plan on going through that daily routine, you're planning to live. So always wear your seatbelt.
That's fun. So if your shoulder belt, no, you on your vehicle, if you have trouble with it coming across your neck or it's becoming a problem too low, you have that adjustment on the side of your shoulder belts. So check that out, see if you have that. The fourth collision, loose items continuing moving forward in a crash. Always secure that. And that is an actual crash that happened, and that is an old TV set. Do you see that in the back? So you don't really want that hitting you in the back.
No.
Yeah. Airbags, inflate with a severe enough crash, when a severe enough crash is experienced. When a forward airbag deploys, several things happen in sequence. First, the driver is driving along in a normal seated position. Second, a crash occurs and the airbag deploys. Third, the driver contacts the airbag, helping it to reduce the injuries. And last, the airbag deflates. So let's watch some actual airbags going off. Happens pretty fast. Now that you know what you're looking for. They were in shock a little bit, but would have been a whole lot worse without them. So on your graph A, they want you to mark in the positions like a car. So if this graph A is a car, and then break it down into these cells, 1 being the top left, and 12 being down here, where do you think the airbags would go? So I'm gonna just give it to you. This is where airbags are at in your car. So you could put an X on 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, or 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11. That's where the airbags are at right now. Anybody been in a vehicle with airbags that went off? Yeah. Mine went off on the side ones, and it was in the car. It was crazy. Crash too. If your airbags go off, they have to call an ambulance, even though nobody was hurt in it. If the airbag deploys, that is the protocol. Front airbags on the average in frontal crashes reduce driver fatalities by 29%. Front seat passengers age 13 and older by 32%. Side airbags on the average reduce driver side crashes. On average, in driver's side crashes, reduce the driver's risks of death by 37% in passenger cars and 52% in SUVs. They do a good job. I don't want to skip over that one. Make sure your pet is in their proper restraints, if you're driving your pet around, and your child restraints, which they change a whole lot all the time. Make sure there's visit safecar.gov, the right seat. Can give you a good idea if your car seat is up to code. leaving your pet in the car. This is a
You
vet
just killed.
talking.
And it's a
So I like
lousy
this one.
way to die. Okay, so I'm your pet, and I'm now in the car. I've got all 4 windows cracked down about 1 inch. So let's start a timer and let's see exactly how hot it gets in here. 94 degrees. So it's pretty hot in here, but we're just getting started. 5 minutes in, 100 degrees already, and I can tell you that it is stifling in here. And 10 minutes in, 106 degrees. It is almost unbearable. There's a breeze outside, and it's very frustrating because I can actually see the trees, the wind blowing, and yet even with all 4 windows cracked between 1.5 and 2 inches, there's absolutely no breeze in this car. Okay, I'm at 15 minutes now, and it's about 110 in my car. If I were a little dog left out here, maybe I'm barking, I'm very nervous. I can only imagine what the core body temperature must be at this point. 25 minutes, 113 degrees. It's awful. The only thought that's going through my head right now is I want out of the car. Everything in my body is saying, get out, get out, get out. I have sweat just completely cascading down my face and nose, my lips, and I can do that. A dog can't. A dog can't perspire. 30 minutes in a parked car with the windows cracked. The temperature right now is about 116. I know what's going on. I'm in control of the situation. What I can't imagine is how helpless and frightening it would be for a dog to be left in a car, not knowing when you're going to come, and slowly but surely having the energy and the life just burnt out of them. You can make all the excuses you want. You can say it'll just be for a second. I'm going to leave the windows cracked. It's a breezy day. It's not that hot. But those excuses are meaningless unless you have sat in that car during that same time. Never, ever leave your pet in a parked car during warm weather.
This guy was a veterinarian. I don't know if you heard me say that, so he just wanted to make a point. I like that. What would you do if you encountered a child or an animal left alone in a parked car? Depending on the situation, you would immediately call 911 and you would wait, enlist some help, break the window. I like that they showed you could pull your head restraint out if you needed an object to break the window. Introduction to vehicle safety technology systems. All right, at the middle of the page 6, you have a potential benefits of vehicle safety technology. Mark, check all that apply to safety technology benefits. Fewer crashes, yes, that would be a yes. According to the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, if all vehicles in the U.S. fleet had only 5 specific technologies, 40% of crashes could be prevented. Traffic fatalities would fall by almost 30%. It's estimated that vehicle technology could save approximately 250,000 lives in a period from 2021 to 2050. Fewer injuries. Getting to the destination sooner would not be a point of the technologies. But fewer injuries would absolutely be a point. Better mileage, reduced fuel, yes. Able to pay less attention to driving, that's not the right answer. Everybody get that marked correctly. You should have those marked accordingly. Dash icons. We just spent quite a bit of time yesterday talking about that on a bus. Use your owner's manual to figure those out on your vehicle. On page 7 of your workbook, you'll see 8 icons with a stack of 8 technologies in the center. Take a minute to match the icon technology to its what it visually represents. Sorry. So we're just going to go ahead and go through them. That is the tire pressure monitoring, that top icon. That one's becoming quite normal. Doors ajar. Does anybody have that on their vehicle? I don't have that on mine. Hill descent control. We don't have too much of that around here. Safe exit assistance. So if somebody's coming by your car when you're trying to open the door. Door ajar. No, adaptive cruise control, sorry, I can't read where that line goes. And we have lane keeping assist. We have freeze warning. And we have driver alertness. One of our cars has that on it.
A lot of the PAs do.
Yeah, I think that's who it is. Driving monitoring systems have been used in some form from the beginning, specifically your speedometer. We have cameras and other sensors now, radar and LiDAR, light detection and ranging, and radio detection and ranging. Sensors are all over our vehicles, so back on page 6, you have a grid B. Same situation, where do you think on a car or on a vehicle those sensors would be? And we'll give you the answer there. So you would put an X in 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12.
Wait a second, what?
Okay, sorry, I'll go back. Make your X is quicker. That is where most of our sensors are at, is in the front and in the very back of our vehicles.
So which numbers again?
1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9, 11, and 12. Good to go. Okay, sensors are typically can be found on the front of the vehicles, the grille areas such as your cameras, lower front bumper, top of the windshield, sides of the vehicles, on your mirrors, door handles, rear bumper, rear cameras. It's important to keep your sensors clean. Take a minute and find them. Keep your cloth close to clean when you pre-trip. Clean them off.
Vehicle safety technology systems rely on sensors to gather information so that the systems can work effectively. Some sensors detect the distance to other objects, such as those used in rear cross traffic and reverse automatic emergency braking systems. Also common are camera-based sensors, which can also be located all around the vehicle, on the rear, as part of the rear view camera system, on the side mirrors to support blind spot warning systems, on the front, often located in the grille or in the rear view mirror assembly to support technologies such as adaptive cruise control. If the sensors are dirty or blocked by bugs or road grime, the safety systems can't receive the clear information they need to perform effectively. Keep your vehicle's sensors clean and clear. As part of your walk-around before you get in the car, check out your sensors and wipe them completely clean if needed. And if you find any body damage, any sensor behind it could also be damaged. Have it repaired right away.
Could also explain why it's so expensive just to replace a bumper anymore. The technology is predicted to lead to reductions in crashes and deaths by 40%. Fatalities is 30%, include forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, lane departure, lane assist, and blind spot monitoring. I know it's helped me out quite a bit. Okay, got another read the road here. I'm going to show you a picture. What did you see?
Construction.
Construction.
Lane
Construction, you're in the blind spot of a trucker.
Sure are. That's what the picture was. You can see all the cones there, cars off to the side, narrow bridge.
And the lane is gonna switch, it's gonna be closed.
So,
Gotta merge to your right.
yeah, so it's important to just slow down in situations like that. All right, we're at the chapter assessment for chapter 2. So at the bottom of page 7, you've got that little salmon color grid there. We'll go through our questions one by one. Preferred hand placement on a vehicle steering wheel is at the
9 and 3.
9 and 3.
6 o'clock with the beat, with the knee.
Number 2, it's easy to accurately determine if a tire is properly inflated by simply looking at it.
False.
True or false? according to the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, if a U.S. vehicles are equipped with 5 specific safety technology systems, what percentage of crashes could be avoided? 5, 20, 40, or 100? 40. It's 40. 3 is C. 4, front seat vehicle occupants correctly wearing safety belts realize what percentage reduction in moderate to critical crash injury?
40, 50.
It's 50%. Number 5, which advanced driver assistance system, ADAS, is designed to mechanically intervene to prevent a crash? Automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring, forward collision warning.
Forward collision warning.
Automatic emergency braking. Okay, that's the end of chapter 2. If you need a restroom break, then it's a good time to take it. We'll get to chapter 3. Stand up and stretch. You want to do cover modules?
You can just
You can.
rate yourself as a driver. They don't have 12.
What?
Rate yourself as a driver, they don't have 12.
Oh, they don't have
Our regular car, you know.
On a regular car?
Didn't you hear that statistic men usually rate themselves higher?
I don't.
Sure,
No, I don't.
sure.
When I got hired at Overland, the supervisor asked me, how you rate yourself as a driver? And I told him that probably a 6.
Yeah, good timing, you take a break.
Then when the road test came back, he says, you know, you're a 9. And I said, well, thank you, but I still consider myself a 6. He goes, why? He says, if I'm a 9, then I think I'm better than everybody else, and everybody else is wrong, and I don't have room for improvement. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah, that's the whole premise of this. You want to do module 3?
Oh, you just need the AAA.
You know what, I'll make parts.
I wanted to move forward,
Okay.
but I should have said that. I wanted those.
No, I'll just, and then come back in.
Yeah.
in
You wanna see
trouble.
less?
Oh, I hope we have, yeah. Almost.
No, they were talking about the top of the head.
Get another sugar rush.
Why does offensive driving have to be so darn boring?
Thanks a lot. We love you. You know, I'm doing the best that I can.
No, I know you're doing an outstanding job, but they gotta have more of an interactive one.
I know.
They took that away.
They took that away, they used
They made, yeah, they made it more a teaching
Coffee,
thing.
if I drink coffee, I'll still go to sleep.